Hi, Tim Horchler with another version of Tim Talks, and today we're going to be talking about spinning wheel maintenance. A spinning wheel needs a regular maintenance. It is to you perhaps a piece of furniture, your best friend. You might even give it a name, but it is a machine before all of that, and like all machines, it needs to be tweaked, adjusted, lubricated from time to time or on a regular basis. You can't be the Maytag repairman and do nothing if you have a spinning wheel. It's not just a piece of furniture or a spinning wheel. It's a machine, and you want to be prepared to maintain it and know what you need to do in terms of the various things that can get out of whack or out of adjustment or out of alignment or lubrication that you need for a spinning wheel. The good thing here is that spinning wheels are very similar from one wheel to the next, from one manufacturer to the next. So what I'm going to talk about here, even though we're using a Kromski Prelude spinning wheel here, we'll use a Polonaise shortly, what we say applies to all wheels and all manufacturers. There's not a wheel out in the market that doesn't need some maintenance or adjusting or tweaking from time to time, and you should be able to apply these rules to what we're going to do here. We're going to break this in. You can think of it as four different categories we're going to talk about here. You've got moving parts on a spinning wheel, generally lubrication. You've got joints where things come together. They should be secure. We're going to talk about alignment of certain things and how to adjust those and make them just right. And there are things on a spinning wheel that from time to time you're going to need to replace. And we'll talk about those to a certain degree. It's not difficult, but it's something that you should just do on a regular basis without thinking, and nothing will be a problem. The key thing on every spinning wheel, if you don't do anything else, the key thing to do is to lubricate. With the Kromski spinning wheels, New Voyager supplies a very nice needle nose applicator type of bottle here. It's got a long needle here, and it's got 30 weight oil in it. That's what you need to use when you lubricate your wheel, nothing special. But you can also have applications so when you lubricate your wheel that you might want to use petroleum jelly. It's less viscous than oil. It'll stay put, and in certain locations on a wheel where there's not a lot of handling back and forth, it's a fine lubricant to use. There are other places on a wheel where using paraffin or candle wax, particularly wood on wood type of connections where you don't want any squeaking sounds or anything like that. Paraffin's good. Again, it tends to stay on, and into wood it tends to embed into the surface of the wood and stay there. And you'll want to have that available for certain locations. Even dry lubricants, modern lubricants, spray lubricants, there might be certain locations where you could use that. And don't always necessarily follow my ideas. You may have some that are just as good, or your manufacturer may suggest something and you'll want to go along with that. Plastic parts. I've had spinners tell me, well, my wheel has plastic parts on it and I never oil them. Do me a favor, go ahead and put a drop of oil on them. You'll notice a difference right away. That film of oil will allow whatever's moving or rotating to simply do it better, to be able to rotate on that film of oil, and it doesn't hurt, and I believe it'll always help you get a better feel for what's going on with your spinning wheel. So where do you oil on a spinning wheel? Well, the first place to start is over here on the axle of the spinning wheel, and normally this axle is going to sit in the top of a wheel post, and there's probably going to be metal or plastic bushings that the axle goes into, and you'll want to lubricate at this location, both front and back, so that the wheel rotates well. There was an old timer out there years ago, Bill Ralph, famous guy with spinning wheels, dealt a lot with antique wheels, and his rule of thumb was even on an antique wheel. Just give this wheel a turn, and it should rotate a minimum of 5 times. Modern wheels will probably rotate 10, 12, 15 times. But you want to test it that there's no impedance. It doesn't come to a screeching stop one revolution after you've turned this. So you want to do that test after you lubricate. Over here on the back side, where the footman connects to the crank, and if you have one footman or two, a double treadle wheel, you want to lubricate right here where the footman connects with the crank. That should be a smooth operation back here. Over here at the business end of the wheel, you have the mother of all and the flyer. The flyer has to rotate easily. The flyer is normally supported by some type of a bearing front and rear, and you want to lubricate those. Could be metal, could be plastic. The Kromskis use a lot of leather here for the bearings supporting the flyer. Out of the box, the leather is going to be a light brown, and it's not going to have any lubricant on it. What you want to do initially when you put together a wheel that has leather bearings is take these maiden posts, and this is typically where you're going to see it. Take these maiden posts, there's 2 of them, pour yourself some 30 weight oil in a little cup and dip the leather into it. And allow it to sit there for a number of hours or overnight, and that oil will creep up into this leather. It'll kind of absorb it like a sponge. It'll hold that oil, and then when you sit down to spin, just a drop here at the front and at the back here will give you the kind of update to the lubrication that you need. Same over here at the wheel or any other location where you're using oil. Start off your spinning day with a drop or 2. That's all you need, and you probably don't need to add any more the rest of the day unless you're changing bobbins and you might want to slip some on. But if you have leather, make sure that it's well saturated and test it. Your flyer should rotate freely. If your flyer with a flick of the finger doesn't spin around like this, something's holding it up, and you want to figure out what it is. We'll talk about alignment here. It's usually not lubrication, it's the alignment of the bearings here that hold the flyer. We'll talk about that in a second, but do that test. The other thing you want to lubricate over here at the working end is the spindle shaft that's your bobbin rides on. Normally a bobbin's going to have a bushing on each end of the bobbin, and so you just need to lubricate on both ends of this spindle. And again, you can do that right on the wheel with a needle nose applicator, just a drop here and here. And like the flyer, it has to rotate easily. And just take your finger and make sure that that bobbin spins around. We also have another test we call the gravity test. That bobbin has to be able to come off easily. If it doesn't rotate easily or come off easily, chances are you've got some dirt, fiber, whatever on this shaft, and just take a paper towel and wipe it off and then re-lubricate it. Check inside your bobbin. Make sure that you don't have fibers on the bushings here. You don't have something stuck inside here. One of your kids didn't use it as a place to park his bubble gum. This bobbin has to rotate very easily on this spindle, and if it doesn't, figure out what the problem is.